Hi, this is Shu with a review of the Nike Air Flight Lite. This is the high top version. The mid version is, I believe it's retro recently. This is also a retro version from the mid 2010s. This is, I believe, worn by a lot of players, including Scottie Pippen, and they try to put a little bit of a signature flair to their individual sneakers and make it look like it's their own. It's pretty high top. I think Wesley Snipes wore this in White Man Can't Jump. Gotta jog my memory back and double check on that, but he was wearing one of the flight models. Woody Harrelson was wearing the Air Command Flight, which has a huge high top and a pump mechanism at the heel, whatnot. For size US 9.5, it weighs about 434 grams, so it's for a considerably bulky shoe. This is pretty lightweight. As you can see, you'll see a lot of the color and design nods from the Jordan 5s, and it's from that era, the early 90s. And the midsole, it's pretty soft. It's even the retro version is pretty soft. It's got a prominent air sole that you can feel that compresses easily on the heel. And on the forefoot, they should have a thin, flexible air sole that in the past you could only feel it once it's punctured. It was pretty dense and rigid. Here you do feel a little bit of a cushioning and compression on the forefoot, but not significantly. Basically, it's very low to the ground with a significant amount of cushioning, considering this is a low profile cushioning setting. So the cushioning is not half bad. It feels like a slightly different version of Kobe 4s. Zoom in the heel that you can feel, and then Luna on the forefoot that you can't really feel. That's sort of what it feels like. Overall, the ventilation is pretty good. The holes are there. There's no extra inner booty to provide that extra layer of suffocation. The fit is one of my biggest issues with this. Some might feel a bit of a chafing or discomfort on the heel, even with this padding. Even though they seem like they have a very prominent heel cup, this is pretty soft. I mean, it's a rigid heel cup, but it feels like they're more like a starched thick pieces of paper rather than plastic or something that's more rigid. The fit is my biggest problem because every time the shoes are retro, whether it's the Zoom Flight 5s that were retroed as a Zoom Up Tempos or other shoes that are retro like the Air Ups and whatnot, they always have a crazy dead space on the toe box area, while it's being a little bit narrower than the original releases. Because if you go back to the shoes from the 90s and early 2000s, they fit half a size more roomy or wider than the present shoes. These days shoes are a lot more cut in a banana-ish sharp shape because they try to cater to the needs of the majority of the ballers, who usually tend to have sharper shaped foot apparently. So it's a lot tighter fitting than most shoes that you've tried in the past. And strangely, this shoe even feels a little bit short as well. So I would advise going half a size up. For me, even if I went half a size up, I felt it was a little tight. And also maybe it's the stitching all around these pinky toe area, but I always had bruises or blisters on my on this part of the shoe, on the lateral side of the shoe, after I wore them, even for a short pickup game. The outsole pattern, it's a traditional pattern, herringbone pattern that we've seen in 1001 Nike Air Flight and Force models in the 90s. They're pretty good, very durable, but not exactly the most dust resistant. Yeah, not as bad as the Adidas models where they just copy and paste lazy herringbone patterns that don't really work. This is definitely much better than that, but it's still, you'll have to wipe them out a lot while you play. The mid cut, I think, is retroed, or depending on where you're from, they are going to retro them soon. But I mean, you can wear them just as a tribute to Scottie Pippen or any of the players that you wore in the past. If you like the basic type of heel compression, forefoot low profile setting of the Kobe 4s, that you would appreciate these shoes as well. I think that's what Kobe 4s were going to in the first place, even in the 2009s. Other than that, yeah, fit is the major issue. Try and squeeze your foot in and lace them up and see what works for you in terms of reducing dead space and comfort without getting too abrasive on certain parts of your foot, so that you won't have any red zones or hot areas.